Hello, we're in Jack Murphy's little war exhibit here in the museum.
This is Livington County War Museum here in Pontiac. This is the uniform of Dal Estes, who was our founder. Dal was a World War II veteran. He landed in Omaha Beach, and he was also in the Battle of the Bulge, and that's Dave's father. He was one of the first units to liberate a concentration camp.
We'll start with our story about Bob Waldmire. Bob is was a young man from Springfield. His father created the Cozy Dog, which is a hot dog on a stick dipped in cornbread batter and then deep fried. The mural there was created over about 3 years. Unfortunately, he didn't have time to finish it. He passed away, I think it was December 19th of last year. He lived in a converted school bus that he made into his home. This is a 1960s era broadcast studio. We're looking forward to some interesting Route 66 radio programs here. The license plate collection goes from 1912, that's the first year Illinois issued license plates, to 1984. The license plate 1913 is die cut. The license plates from 1943 to 1948 were made of fiberboard. A major component of that fiberboard was soybean meal. We noticed that some of the license plates had the top kind of worn off on them. Found out that the folks were farmers and their cattle were nibbling on the license plate for the soybean flavor. The photograph is the District 6, Illinois State Police District 6 headquarters. It was built in 1941. It's built in the shape of a revolver. The one here in Pontiac is the only one left standing.
You're looking at these blue footprints, and what we did, we have so many international travelers coming into Pontiac that there was a language barrier, so we put down blue footprints that helps people get from the Route 66 Museum over to the International Walldog Mural and Fine Art Museum. We also have footprints in red that get you to do the complete mural tour. I'm standing here at the Rodino Square mural, and this was a very popular tourist attraction in the days of Route 66. We had this located on a major corner with Route 66 and one of our other main streets, and it was a vegetable garden. This old truck used to roam the streets and deliver people's vegetables, and it was a popular tourist camp. This is our Coca-Cola mural, and this one here depicts the days of the military and the old Coke ads. This gentleman the artist came to Pontiac and met several of our war veterans that were in the Livingston County War Museum, and actually numbered the plane number 311 after the flight that Mr. James Dawson actually flew that number plane. This mural really celebrates the days that we had the Chautauquas that came from the Chautauqua, New York area, and it was a regional thing that took place in Pontiac from 1898 to 1929, where people came from all over the place to take part in what was known as a tent city. Here we go at another one of our murals, and this one also depicts Route 66, and it shows off into the horizon there with the Pontiac skyline. And the 57 Chevy here is what was the inspiration, the color for the art car. This was the Vermillion River mural, and we then put it up on the billboard and decided that we really needed to do something on the other side of it. This is a depiction of probably a 1950s era, and we get accused a lot of living in that era, the days gone by, but we commissioned this mural to take place at the end of our Walldog Festival in 2009. Here we are at our Roselle Mural. This is a mural that depicts an old-time soda shop, and although we did not have a Roselle soda shop here, we did have many soda shops over the period of time. We have a total of 19 murals. This one here is the Palace of Sweets, and that was a soda shop. This was done by an artist called Walldog.
So they have a special museum just to talk about the murals, and if you go in there, they'll tell you about how they're made.
And they also did the ghost murals.
That's right, she explained about ghost murals, because actually They have a ghost mural right there in their museum.
Hi, my name is Kristen, and I am the manager here at the brand new International Walldog Mural and Sign Art Museum. Hi, my name is Kristen, and I am the manager here at the brand new International Walldog Mural and Sign Art Museum. This museum is actually dedicated to the craft of mural and sign art painting. Through the different exhibits here in the museum, you'll see how the craft of mural and sign art painting has evolved over the years. Walldog is a sign painter that paints on brick exterior walls, and they're called Walldogs because the artists feel like they work like dogs on walls, hence the term Walldog. Now, before Walldog came about, actually they were called letterheads, so that's another term that's widely used in the sign painting industry. Back here in the back of the museum is one of the significant finds that we had here in the Mural Museum. We did not know that this ghost mural was here when we moved in, but when we were preparing for grand opening, a lot of the workers were working back here. They pulled the paneling off this back wall and discovered this ghost mural. Now, this mural was painted prior to 1904. The building that we're actually standing in and what the museum is located was actually built in 1905. And so this wall right here is actually was a brick exterior wall for the building next door. So we do know that this mural was actually painted in 1904, or prior to 1904. It's well over 100 years old. Now, this specific mural, as you can see in this yellow paint, you can probably faintly see it spells out clothes. It was for Bremer's Clothes for Gents here in downtown Pontiac. Behind this clothes word, you can probably, I don't know if you can specifically see, but there's actually multiple murals behind it. Back in those days, they actually didn't paint a white blank slate when they had a name change of a business or whatever. They just painted right over. So that's why you're seeing multiple murals now kind of pop through off the wall. Now, it's called a ghost mural because of its faded historic nature. In the back here in the museum, we have a very unique exhibit. With Pontiac's unique location along Route 66 and us being a mural museum, we thought it would be interesting to document a fraction of the murals along Route 66.
Pontiac, the Indian.
That's right. That's
the
why
town
it
was
was
actually
named.
made out of an Indian.
That's right. That's why it was named.
Here we are at our Lincoln statue, and this is really a project that was in the making for many years. Knowing that we had this Lincoln history, we wanted to really share that with everybody. Here we are on the north side of the courthouse square, and we're at a granite monument that was placed here in 1902. And this is actually in the memory of the soldiers and sailors of Livingston County. Here we are on the south lawn of the courthouse square, and this is actually a monument to Chief Pontiac, who is the namesake of our town, Pontiac, Illinois.
This is the old log cabin. That was the cabin that they actually turned around, facing old Route 66. And then they made the new Route 66, and they picked it up,
And turned it around and placed it there.
This is the old log cabin in Pontiac, Illinois. It was built in 1926 by the Salati brothers. The building originally faced east when 66 ran between their building and the railroad tracks. In 1947, the brothers jacked it up, turned it around, and faced it towards the new highway when the new road was put in. That was 1947. My first trip down 66 was in 1947. We stopped in Baxter Springs. My mother was bound determined that Dad and my little sister and my brother should go on to California, and she and I would take the bus back to Odell. Dad says, no way, if you go back to Odell, we're all going back. We drove on into Shamrock, Texas, you know where the U-drop in is, the Tower Station. Well, Dad sold Conoco gasoline at the dealership in Odell, and he always patronized his products. Well, we made it into New Mexico, and Gene and I, my brother and I, wanted to stop and see one of these Indian attractions. Well, Dad was very skeptical. So we went into this, and I was a little leery of it because the front of the place was all corrugated steel, 8 feet corrugated sheet metal. So we go in, and the first thing we see is 3 Indians, and they've got 3 cards on a table, and they're flipping them over. Well, it's that one there, it's that one there, whatever that game is called. And Dad says one of the cards was badly bent. You couldn't miss it if you were blind. And the guy said, which one is it? Dad said, well, was that one right there? You're right. Handed him a $20 bill. I said, oh no, boys, we're going. We're leaving right now.
And now we're heading down. Where did we head to? In Pontiac, we went to the old bridge.
Oh, that's
See,
right.
they moved bridge from one place to another place.
Yeah.
This here is the site of the Route 4 bridge, originally built in the Route 4 alignment in 1926. Since then, it has been rebuilt. There was an agreement made between the city and the preservationists that they would take down the original end post that actually has the Route 4 stencil still on it.
And then we went to the 3 Roses.
And then we went to the 3 Roses.
3 Roses, where we stayed.
Her rooms are named after her daughters.
That's right.
Very cute, and she's a great cook.
We're in front of Sharon's Bed and Breakfast, 3 Roses. It's about a block off one of the alignments of Route 66. It is the only bed and breakfast in town.
Pontiac.
How long have you been in business?
We opened in late 2006.
So how old is this house?
It was built in the late 1800s. There's a sign out back that at one time it was designated a historical landmark. It was called the Jamison House, circa 1890s.
And this is the sitting room, the living room?
Yeah.
And then we go through another set of sliding doors.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love these sliding doors, I'll tell you that. Tell us about this room.
Well, this is one of the guest rooms. Like I say, the 3 Roses represents my 3 daughters, so I named 3 of the rooms by their names. So this is Marsha's room, and then it's decorated with Marsha's pictures. So.
We had a great day in Pontiac, great sleep at the 3 Roses, and now we're going to have a great breakfast. We're sitting at the breakfast table right now with Sharon, and she's going to explain to us the wonderful breakfast that's sitting before us.
English muffins are homemade. The jam is homemade. It's blackberry jam. And these pancakes are very healthy. There's nothing unhealthy in them. But it's made with whole wheat and oatmeal and flax seeds, and it's really good. Oh, and the syrup is from Funk's Grove, which is south of here. You'll probably pass through there on your journey.
Okay.
And then you all ask for hazelnut creamer. Well, I made you some hazelnut coffee and hazelnut creamer. So you get a double dose of the hazelnut.
This is true luxury. True luxury. Thank you very much, Sharon, for this beautiful breakfast.
You're welcome.
And a wonderful time in your bed and breakfast.
Good.
So anyway, we left Pontiac and we're heading, we traveled a long distance this time. And we ended up in Memory Lane, Lexington.
That was such a nice...
Memory Lane is a piece of Route 66 that they closed off because it's really like getting old. And now it's like a little footpath where people could walk down. We're on Memory Lane with Chuck. He's going to describe to us the road, and could you tell us a little bit about what you know?
Sure, Vinny. I've been involved with Route 66, kind of officially since the early 1990s. We started this Memory Lane about 20 years ago. We didn't realize, my dad and I, that it was even here. We came back through here and we saw some old original signs from some of the old gas stations, and Lexington used to have a dozen gas stations. There's a few signs, as you'll see when you do your tour, that are still up. Most of the signs, though, now on Memory Lane are reproductions of older signs. We're at the Burma Safe sign on Memory Lane, and I'm talking to the mayor of Lexington,
John Moore.
John Moore.
Yes, sir.
John, I want to thank you for allowing us to film Memory Lane.
You're welcome. And we're pleased to have Vincent Videos in Lexington to capture some of the memories from our residents about Old Route 66. It's really a highlight and of people who live in town.
The Filling Station Cafe we visited, because that is an old historic landmark on Route 66. We're with Jerry right now at her filling station cafe right here on Route 66. And but this wasn't always the filling station. This went through many different names, and it's been here on the road for a very long time. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about the history.
Well, I grew up in Lexington, and growing up it was the Mesa Cafe. The owners had vacation up Mesa, Arizona, and that's how it got its name. And we bought it 28 years ago, and it's been the filling station since then. And
in that particular restaurant, they assembled a whole bunch of nice old-timers who wanted to tell little stories about Route 66. We took a few shots at them.
Yep.
We're at the filling station right now talking to Vern. Now I want to tell you, Vern built Route 66.
That was in the fall of '44. They were working from the Mackinac south on the southbound lane. It was in the fall years. They had to move the Mackinac River. It was rerouted farther west because the original Mackinac come too close to the northbound lane that they didn't have room to put the southbound lane in. They moved the river.
Talking to Bob and Yvonne. Now Bob and Yvonne have a very interesting story. They got engaged on Route 66.
I think it was May of 1964, and we were sitting out there, and I asked her to marry me.
Just like that?
Over a pizza burger, I think.
We're at the Oasis.
The Oasis.
Oh, the Oasis.
On Route 66.
I'm talking to Al right now. He's going to tell us a little interesting story about Route 66. What do you got to say, Al?
Well, my dad worked a little bit on it at that time, and I bought gasoline at the curb down here. There's a big curb, 14 cents a gallon.
Wow.
I had an old single-cylinder motorcycle that rode down that road just a wheel at about 40 miles an hour.
And what was the brand of it?
Harley Davidson.
Oh, single-cylinder Harley. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
We have another story on Route 66. Vivian actually got married on the route.
First saw my husband, I went into a ball game out here at the old ball field. And the next year I was down to a dance at the old Sunny Slope in Bloomington. And he was there. I was visiting some people down there later that year. And he came over there and he said, "Got something for you." He handed me a marriage license. We went up to Just a Piece on Old 66 at Towanda and got married at 7 o'clock at night. We were married 30 to 32 years and he passed away. But anyhow, here's the marriage license.
This is the original marriage license.
And I didn't, he got it on Saturday and I didn't even sign for it till Monday. We got married that night, 7 o'clock.
Standing here with Bill and Lloyd, they're going to give us a little Route 66 trivia.
Well, I've lived along Route 66 most of my life.
What was the first gas station ever was?
The first one that was in town that I know of was at a private home down here, and a guy named Ross Harmon had a shop there, and I think the tanks are still in the ground.
Wow.
The word on the street up in Chicago was that this road was had some 100-mile-an-hour curves in it, and they come down from the north and they'd go around that curve, and a lot of them didn't make it. I saw 2 or 3 turn over around there when I was working my dad's station. Another story was that Al Capone was the one that was building this, the motel that he's showing a picture of now. It was made for some of his people that run from St. Louis to Chicago, Springfield, or wherever they had business, and that was their stopover. They go to these little cabins and either hide out or stay all night.
We're talking to Lloyd right now, and Lloyd's going to share a little Route 66 trivia with us.
And my grandfather owned a garage up on Main Street, and he had a gas station right on the main drag up here.
How long ago was this?
Well, it was a long time ago. I would say 50 years ago.
50 years ago.
Yeah.
Now we're talking to Janice Elder.
I wanted to say that when the road first became a hard road, it was number 4. And 2 men that were engineers came here to help start building it. Each of them married a girl from Lexington, and they lived many years here.
We're sitting with Margaret right now, and Margaret was working at the Oasis, and she's going to tell us a little story about that.
Well, it was my first job. Jobs weren't easy to get for teenage girls, particularly back then. There weren't very many jobs to be had. So we were hired as waitresses by the Winterlands, Arlene and Elmo. And they were pretty strict bosses, but they were a great first job for a kid to have. We had to make ice cream cones and sundaes interminably. After the Little League ball games, the Oasis would be just mobbed by kids.
And what year was this?
Oh, it was probably 63. I worked there 2 years in high school, and then I worked for the Winterlands for 2 more summers.
There was a fellow here in town that used to tell the story about being a bag man for Al Capone. And they found out one time he lost a bag or something. They found out that Al had a hit on him, and he's told us every once in a while about his favorite thing was to say, grab a handful of boxcar and left town. So he had quite a story, and he'd tell it to anybody that wanted to listen. I heard him quite a bit. His name was Kenny Perry.
Well, Holly, what's coming up in the next episode?
Well, we learned history in Bloomington.
And what about that giant in Atlanta?
And from there, we milled around in Lincoln.
And that's when I wanted a double.
Mm.